That's awesome. Who else have some wins? Has some wins? Neil, he's always good for a win. What do you got? I can't hear you. Oh, where'd you go? You bailed. All right. Who else is good for a win? Devon's always good for a win. Where's Devon?
Right here. My wins just, I mean, I took a little hiatus. I just got back from like a little over a week-long road trip up and down, visited the Pacific
Oh, that's
Northwest.
right. Yeah, okay, I saw you. Yeah, I liked a couple of your photos on Facebook or something like that.
Yeah. So I've just been out. So I mean, really, the wins, you know, I'm not at the point right now where I'm looking to be the guy that's closing a deal every single day. And so really, it's like got on a bunch of wins, right? And now it's just about figuring out fulfillment, figuring out just how, like, literally what Lou was just talking about, where it's like, how can I make this more passive? How can I not be so fragile with it depending on me? So right before I left, I got connected with a better website builder in the sense of what their process was in terms of the product they can produce for me, which is helping big time right now. Reorganizing my schedule to create some forms of consistency for me, which I've seen with my productivity, just really trying to take a step back from that, because now I have a bunch of new clients. So it's like, how can I improve the onboarding process? Literally earlier today, I have my biggest SEO client. They're $1,500 a month. And it's the relationship, it seems like more so it's fracturing. So I gave them an ultimatum about like, how I'm trying to make this passive. So either I'm going to take this hit of losing $1,500 a month and I get the relief of not having to deal with that client, or we work into a better relationship. So like win-wise, it's like, it's not a dollar amount this week, but just some of the finer points, I guess, of the process I've been working on since coming back.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I would say being able to take a vacation and like kind of tour around the way you were, I mean, that's digital nomad lifestyle, right?
Yeah, it was
Gotta love that.
it helps scratch that itch, just being able to get out and actually do what I signed up 18 months ago to actually do it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Model, so
awesome, man. Congratulations on all that. Keep dialing it in and just keep growing.
That's the plan right now.
Right on. Anybody else?
It looks like Neil's back. Neil had a win.
Neil's back. There he is.
His waving of his hand has gotten more and more violent. What's up, brother? How you doing? How's it going down there in Florida?
It's going good. It's weird because this past week I had kind of a bitter win when people like blow me off that I'm sending leads, and we have a verbal agreement, right? So I go back to this guy and I go, how you doing? What have you sold? He goes, well, I'm only going to give you 100. We said 10% to start, right? And he says, oh, no. I'm going to do $100 for job that we get. And I'm like, what? I just, you know what? Instead of blowing up at the guy, I'm like, I got to move on. But I want to get money out of this guy because I spent time with him. So I hounded him and he sent me $300. So, I mean, it's $300 that I wouldn't have got if I didn't hound him. Anybody that blows me off and does stuff, I want to get something from him. I got another guy I'm working on. I think he's going to throw me 1,000.
It's all about the game.
Yeah, I mean,
playing the game, huh, Neil?
I mean, look, I spent time on this, and if we agreed to something, and now you're not honoring it, come on, man. I mean, I was honest with you. Let's leave this on a good note.
Right.
So that was that, and so that was it was a win. I got some money out of a guy that kind of switched stuff around me, and I got a much better client. The next day, I got on the phone. And I got a bigger company and much more professional. And but here's another thing. I don't know if it's a win, and I have a question for you guys. I had a guy call me. You get these spam calls all the time, and this is for a business I'm partners with someone else in JK, stucco. I wouldn't get into stucco in Las Vegas, right? And that's been a nightmare. But this guy calls and he's trying to sell me stucco products, right? And I told him, yeah, I just do lead gen, and I was kind of short with him because I had a lot of stuff going on that day. And called me back right after and left me a message. And he says, I do lead gen too. And so I called him back, and he gets with manufacturers and does lead gen for manufacturers to sell their products to the contractors. They started mentioning soft dollars. I wasn't familiar with this stuff. Are you guys familiar with soft dollars from the manufacturer? He said it pays huge.
I don't know that terminology, no, but we've kind of dabbled. We have one really good client in that world, and I've got another one teeing up now on trial, and we're starting to go that direction now that the mindset is there. It's like we're kind of trying to be creative and find those opportunities or solutions when possible.
Because I mean,
sorry, Neil, I didn't mean to cut you off. One of the things that works really well for us, this year to Jeff coming on board, is I reached out to a manufacturer and I said, look, you guys need more. When your clients, when your contractors are getting more business, then they're buying more materials, and we have a hard time finding the good contractors. We can bring leads to the contractors all day long. So it sounds, am I cutting in?
I guess I got to mute. I muted Laurent.
Okay. So if we could, it sounds like there's a win-win-win here, and they're pretty hesitant, but I said, why don't we do this? Give me 3 of your contractors and let's just anything. Let's just try it for free, right? And see what happens. So they agreed to it, and we blew it out of the water. And then they sent us 20 clients. So that probably accounts for $30,000 of our monthly revenue right now of these clients from this manufacturer. So what ended up happening next was we had a lot of other clients in this niche, and they said, look, we need you to be exclusive with us, where you can only work with the people, like only work with contractors that are with us. So they kind of got greedy. And I was like, no, we're not going to do that. I've got relationships with these people prior to the 20 people that you sent us. So we got ties with them, but we lost one client of that original batch that they sent over. And so we still have, it's a big chunk of our monthly revenue that comes in from this. And it was through that pathway that you're kind of poking right now. So I would encourage you, and I would encourage everyone else to seek this. I've talked about this. So there was a video in the JK group where it's like, I can't remember what they called the series, but it was kind of like prospecting or something. And that was my method, was to go to the manufacturer. And now we've got another, the client that is $12,000 a month. That one is that relationship right there, right? It's a great way to cut through the fat. You're going to have to sell them the leads at maybe a cheaper price than you would sell the other people. But when you're dealing with one client, rather than like, I don't know how many we would have, like 10, 8 is for what we're sending this.
Probably at least in that management, there'd be like Devon was talking about, getting some process and kind of like, making it more passive. I mean, we're definitely not passive agency, but that cuts out a lot of back and forthing. If one client equals 10 or 8 or whatever, and can continue to gobble things up, it's just a match made in heaven.
Yeah. And we added to that. Here's a win for our agency.
Yeah, that is a win. Mm-hmm.
We're probably on Friday, we're probably going to close them for a $35,000 website build, right? So they have an e-commerce site. They've got like 5,000 products. They want to go nationwide. So it is not what I would encourage you guys to do, is to try to build sites like this. We're taking it on because for 2 reasons. Like, one, we have a really solid team. that I'm just really confident in our ability to perform on this. And you're not used to that world, that would be a big challenge. And two, we're doing it because of client, and I want to continue to build this relationship. He flat out told us, I would love to pay you guys $100,000 a month. So we want to get to that spot. And like, there's going to be an SEO component that's attached after we build the site. So it's, you know, when you have a relationship like this, that's more than just like a strict one market, then it can grow into so much bigger. And it's good to kind of get and build out foundation when you start out with like, let's get some leads coming in and let's find a client. And maybe this guy started out at $1,500 a month. I gave him a trial, I think for a month or something like that. This was a couple years ago. But you want to be, you don't want to build your agency to $100,000 a month with like, you know, 65 clients paying you $1,500 a month or something, right? Or 100 clients paying you $1,000 a month. That's not how I would recommend doing it. That's a lot to manage. So how are you going to do that? You're going to start moving these people up, right? I've encouraged you guys, let's go after more sites and sit and like surround them, blanket, dominate the city. This is how you grow these clients instead of having to find like clients to get to $6,000 at $1,500 a month. You get one client at $6,000 a month, and like it's the management of one client essentially, right? It may be because there's more markets, but it certainly doesn't go up 6 times, right? Or 4 times or whatever. Like I know that Jeff talks to Heath there pretty regularly, the $12,000 one, but it's certain, like we have other clients that are paying us less that tax us more, where it's just like, can you change the color on the logo on this site for the 3rd time? And like, we want this, but not this. And it's just like I think this in the group where it's like, you try to pitch some filers and they're going to ask you questions. You pitch someone for $10,000. If your stuff lines up and it's solid, they're like, here's my credit card, go. Right. So just the mindset when you start to move up, right? So
yeah, I mean, we've also built a relationship with this client where they're completely aligned with us, how they approach business. You know, we've really gotten into their business and offered as many solutions as we could possibly, you know, muster for them. And then through that process, just seeing how they run their business, they're, you know, very growth oriented. They're very aggressive about that. They have a good plan. You know, they have all of the components in place where we can both continue to grow together. And we caught them. I mean, Patric had him as a client right before I got on, and then I've helped move him up. But, you know, just to grow from where he was, again, it started out as a trial client like any other. And now he's at, you know, 12K a month, and he wants to pay us six figures a month. And, you know, it's like, and he's just completely aligned in so many ways. And he's like a cowboy type, you know, and he's a real character and rides Harleys around and stuff. So he's a fun client to have.
He's a wild man
in the mud, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's, I know Bryan Brown has had his hand up for a minute.
Yes, he has.
What's up, man? Let's ask him. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, man. How's it going?
Good. I am. We made a move. We're up in Northern Maine, and I was a little concerned with my internet. So we moved over so we weren't completely out in the sticks. And then I apparently there's dogs getting killed right next to me right now. But we moved over into this area with a really solid internet connection, and it was awesome until apparently 1 minute call started. But in front of our RV right now is the ocean. Like it's maybe 150, 200 yards. And then over here we got a heated swimming pool, and there's like a lot of really what looked to be like a lot of rigs is what we call it apparently, that are surrounding us a lot. Like the guy next to me is just retired from like a Wells Fargo high level IT security. And so it's been a it's been a fun adventure for us.
That's
And that was
awesome.
probably a longer answer than you were asking for, but I figured I'd give you guys updates. I know a lot of you guys are questions here and there. Where are you at, Bryan?
Well, I was over in Miramar Beach, Florida, but I'm back at home now. I came back 2 days ago, but now I'm back in Ponchatoula, Louisiana. But
Okay.
I secured a win today. Actually, he just sent over payment, $12.50 up front, SEO build out. I'm basically going to take his website. His Gmb is totally, I mean, we're going to have to probably just scrap the Gmb because it's not even in a good area. But $12.50 up front with 1,000.
Yeah, this is going to be a
recurring.
good call for you. This is going to be a good call for you because one of the things we're going to talk about today is some Gmb best practices.
Oh, perfect.
So yeah, I think that'll be good for you. And I would encourage you to reach out to some of the people that are near you because you have a few powerhouses that are right in your area where you are now at home. I don't know if you know Amy Ball and then Jarrett Miller and Kyle Goldstein are all I think within an hour of you. I don't know if you know any of them, but if I
Yeah,
was
I've
in your
definitely
area,
heard the names for sure.
yeah,
Actually, it's kind of funny. I got
reach
this
out to
client.
me.
Okay.
Reach out to me after the call, and I'll put you guys in a group chat and see if you guys can meet in person because there's some good people there for you to know.
Okay, awesome. It's funny because I actually got this client from a trial that didn't work. I had a trial for a totally different service and area, and apparently that guy was in a bar talking to this new client and gave him my number because he was like, "This guy could blow it out of the water," but it never ended up working out with the other client because he was dealing with some personal things. But it was funny. I just got a text one day and he was like, "Yeah, this dude at the bar gave me your number," and so anyways, we started talking. I sent over a proposal. He loved it. So we're going to be moving forward. But I'm going to take
That's
this
awesome,
win
man.
money and invest in a webcam.
There you go. There you go. They've never been cheaper.
Yeah,
Maybe
right.
not. Maybe they're more expensive now. Like with the everything's more expensive now. But yeah,
Yeah.
but that's awesome, man. Congrats. How many
Thank you.
clients do you have, Bryan?
This will be my 5th.
Okay. Okay, cool. You're kind of in that process of moving from a small to a mid-sized agency, kind of relative to the group, right? So that's
Yeah.
cool, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Do we got any more wins? Nope. We got Eugene. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, we had a pretty good win today. We had one of our lead gens was like starting to get some leads, like maybe like 30 to 40 per month. We knew this guy personally who's an amazing carpenter. He worked on some like mansions and stuff, but he's transitioning out of his full-time job and wanting to start his own thing now. But he doesn't really have a good sales process in place, so we didn't know if it was going to work out. But we started sending him leads, and he proactively just gave us like $700 out of the blue, and so we were just we're stoked on that, and so we're going to try to kind of help him along and put a sales process together for him so he can start taking this volume and kind of transitioning out. So
Very cool,
yeah,
man.
so yeah, we didn't think it was going to work out with him, but you never know. You got to give him a chance, so
Yeah. I mean, you get somebody that's really good at their craft and you can kind of handle the business side of things for them, get them on the map. It can be a match made in heaven, assuming they, have a couple other pieces in place in the right places. But, I've done that a few times where I just like see something great in someone and I'm like, I'm going to work extra hard to try to make this person my client because, this person's got a bright future. And that's one thing that Jeff's been really good at is he's kind of finding some of these young guys and seeing what they want and what their vision is. And then, when we get matched up with somebody like that, it's just perfect. Right. But having a master craftsman like that that's great because the people that you send to them are going to be taken care of, and they're going to be happy, and they're going to want to leave reviews, which is going to make it easier to rank your GMB, and you don't have to deal with any nonsense around that. So that's cool, man. Congrats. It looks like, did you get your haircut, man? I feel like it used to be longer. Do you have a ponytail before?
Yeah. I cut the Steven Seagal ponytail, I'm trying to update to modern times. So here I am.
Yeah. Did you hang that thing on the wall?
No, actually I donated it. So, let it go to a better purpose than just making me beautiful, so.
Yeah. Jeff still has his Steven Seagal ponytail over there.
Yeah, I'm growing mine longer, man. I'm going old school.
I like it.
Cool.
I'm pro ponytail.
Awesome. All right. So I want to get into some like a lesson to this, and let's talk about Gmb best practices, because
Hey, Patrick, real quick before you get started, do you want to go speaker view on Facebook?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do that. Okay. Cool. Are we good now? I lost audio there. Jeff, can you still hear me?
Gotta catch up. The feeds. It's not there yet. It's still gallery.
Okay. All right. It should be good. Now, let me be generous with my screen here, and 1 second. Nothing broke, right? We're still good. Okay. Jeff, I gave you the host privileges when the thing was dropping. So you actually have to like allow my screen sharing now.
Oh my God.
Or make me co-host.
Okay. How do I do that?
So one of the things I want to do here is I want to kind of do like I'm going to try something a little different here, where we do almost like a little speed round, where I know that a lot of you guys are struggling with Gmb stuff based on the responses that we saw and in the little poll that we posted. So I've got my suspicions on where those are. And, we're going to be kind of preparing a couple little mini courses that help out with some of the different parts and pieces, because we've all been trained. We've seen, some of us have taken extra that I've done, maybe we take for granted, that I think would be awesome for you guys to, I think you guys could benefit from it. So, Jeff, am I frozen? I feel frozen.
You're not frozen.
Okay. I think I'm just going to kill my video for a minute.
I'm not sure how to give you permission to share. It's asking me to share.
If you want to, if you just open up the participants and then click and make me co-host, I think that will do it.
Gotcha. Hang 1 second. More. There we go. Oh, no. Wait, hang on. There we go.
Okay. You are now co-host. Okay, cool. All right. I'm going to share my screen. First, let's talk about lead generated with an update. I put it into the group. If you guys didn't see the call, I think it was last week, where we talked about the pipelines and the tasks. So we have this in place now. You may want to check that out. This can be great for kind of managing your workflow. What we will be doing soon is allowing these pipelines to be kind of created for your clients, so we can help our clients become better at what they do. A lot of us in the contractor space are their clients are not organized. So we're really, we started out as this tool that was really geared towards like the lead generation business, and now we're adding in some kind of more CRM functionality into it. So that's the pipeline system. You can click on this and you can kind of see all the details of a deal. There's a lot of relationships that are happening between companies. We've got a tagging system here. You can set up tasks. Tasks are kind of like a reminder system. A few weeks ago, we pushed out the contacts module. So the contacts module, we're going to continue to build on that, and then they can have notes. So if we look at the task area here, the task, we can go up here, we can create a new task, and then we can set up a reminder. Like if we want to set up a reminder by email, an in-app notification, which is kind of like this little Facebook bell up here. So we're going to be allowing and kind of putting the permissions in place for you to assign pipelines to your clients, so that they can manage that on their own, or even give them the ability to create their own pipelines. So that was an update that we rolled out about 2 weeks ago. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is we did another update, and I know we reached out to pretty much everyone that we believe had heat map schedules in place. So our update, we couldn't find a way to we couldn't find a way to really not break the schedule with what we had, break the existing schedule with what this update put out there. Okay, so this is how it works now. It's very similar to how it was before. If you guys are not using this, I would encourage you to check this out. So before, it was limited to, you could set it up to run like every so many weeks or every so many months. And now we've given you a lot more control, where you can set the frequency. You've got days, weeks, and months, and then you can basically type in whatever number up to 30 that you want. So if you want this to run like every 1 month, then it will run, and you're going to say start now. So that means if today is the 11th, then it's going to run this heat map that you choose on like September 11th, and then October 11th, and so on, right? Or you can choose a starting date. Like if I want this to run, I want it to run on the 1st of each month. So maybe I want to set it up like this, and then it will just run on the 1st of each month. Or maybe you want it to run more often. So if you want it to run every two weeks or whatever. I want it to run, I'm very specific, and I need mine to run every 13 days, right? So you can set this up however you want. If you haven't used the configurations, a configuration is really just kind of all of this stuff here adds up to be a configuration. So whenever you go and you set like your Google My Business, you've got your keyword, you've got all this stuff set up with exactly what is going to run, or maybe it's a keyword list, then a configuration basically includes all those different details. So for this to work, you have to have a configuration in place. And to set a configuration, basically you just fill it out like you normally would, and then click on the save button, and then it'll ask you what to save it as, and then it will be available on this list, right? So we're going to be moving this tool in a really cool direction. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Michael Wimple. If you guys don't know Michael, awesome dude, but he showed me the Pro Rank Tracker, and that's where we're really going to be moving this heat map tool is towards like rank tracking. And I think once we do that, I think it's going to be the best tool on the market for, I already think it's the best tool on the market for measuring your GMB, but it's going to go to a whole new level where you can get kind of alerts that say, hey, this keyword has dropped from this average to this average, right? Or it's raised, and it will monitor. So we're going to kind of be combining that with the schedule, where it's like, it's gone up 4 rankings and so on. So you've got this kind of like daily reporting, and we're going to set it up so it emails you a report every time you run the schedule if you choose that option. So the keyword list kind of expands on this, where let's say I choose roofing. If you guys haven't seen this, I'm just going to kind of go over this because I know we covered on some calls, but a lot of people don't see it. So the way the keyword list is, you can basically add in your list of keywords, and it will go through those different keywords and run a different heat map for each one. So when you start combining this with rank tracking, now you can see like, hey, 3 weeks ago, our average was a 7, and now it's like a 6.4. And we've got that kind of like red arrow and green arrow that's telling you how things are performing for this. So that's really where I think we're going to start to get some tremendous value. And it's something my own agency, a lot of this stuff, I'm in the same shoes as you guys with trying to find the best way to be efficient with my time and analyze my niches and the sites that we're trying to rank and improve. And my managers are giving me a lot of information. I would love to get more information from you guys on what you would like to see. We are slowing down the features, and we're going to release a lot of the stuff that we've built over the last like 6 to 8 months. And we're going to be ultra focused on just making sure everything is running really, really smoothly. I'm really tired of having any type of bugs in the system. I think when we go as fast as we've gone, I think it's inevitable, but we're going to gear things down and just focus on having everything work really clean and smoothly, and try to eliminate the tickets that are coming in from errors on our end, because I just, it drives me absolutely insane to have that. So before I move on, is there any questions about any of the stuff I just covered here? You seen anything, Jeff?
Not seeing anything in Facebook or anything. Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Right on. Okay. So let's talk best practices for the GMBs. And I'd love to hear, I know that a lot of you guys are struggling with this thing. So I imagine that one of the things that you guys are struggling with is how to get your GMBs. That's like, it seems like it's always an issue. So I'll tell you what we did. Okay. So first of all, we use a combination of Indeed and we use Craigslist as a way to get our GMBs. We have some scripts that we run through there. So with Craigslist, what we're doing is we're saying, let me just pull this off here for now. Okay, so with Craigslist, what we're saying is, hey, we're looking for a photographer in your area, and we'll make sure that the dollar amount is like $50, because we want to weed out the real photographers. We're looking for the people that need the $50 cash, right? And we say, we're looking for a photographer, and then they approach us and say like, hey, I'll take the pictures. And we make sure to say, look, we don't need a fancy camera. A good cell phone will do it. We'll need the pictures electronically. And when they respond, a lot of times what we're saying is, look, we already found someone to take the pictures. What we're trying to do is create a local contact, right? And if you post it wrong, then Craigslist is going to block your post. I know a lot of people have struggled with getting your Craigslist account to work correctly. I would recommend that you kind of season your Craigslist account first. Maybe you get on there and you like make a couple local posts for whatever, look around your garage or your basement or whatever, and see if there's some stuff that you need to sell. Like build it up a little bit, so you don't just go in there and go to this, right? And then with Indeed, you can look for like a local marketing manager. Okay. So I'm not going to tell you guys to buy reviews. I'm not sure of the legality of that, but I've heard that some people have had a lot of success with offering the people that give them the Craigslist postcards or the Indeed postcards and saying, hey, I'll give you X dollars if you can go and like generate some reviews. If you guys have a really cool CRM that has reputation management, I would recommend that you take advantage of that and get your clients on board to start to get the reviews for you, because as best practices for your GMB, you need reviews. Okay. You look at what happens when you go on to like Amazon or something, and you're looking at 2 pairs of shoes, and one of them has 600 reviews and it's 4.4 stars, and the other one has 13 reviews and it's 3.5 stars. I'm paying more for the one with better reviews almost every time. And it's the same for your clients. We can make it easy on them we know that it helps ranking. We know that it's going to help them close, and we know that they're probably going to be able to close for a larger amount if the reviews are there. So you've got to be getting those. You need to find a way to get those. When your client goes out and does work for a whatever it is that they do, like they've created an asset if that person is happy, and to not take advantage of that is a big waste with all the benefits that we can see from it. So we have the reputation management system built in. I'm going to spend some time putting stuff together on best practices for that. We are close with our updates that are coming to releasing the text messaging update and kind of having that built in with our campaign builder update, which is going to put in a lot of automation, right? Where it could be like miss phone call, send text message, or send review request by text. If not reviewed, then continue to send by like whatever, at whatever frequency and time you want. So that's some of the stuff we've been working on. So reviews, I wouldn't do more than if it's coming in organically and these are just coming from your client, then like it comes in at whatever it comes in at, right? I would tell your client if they've got like 6 years worth of clients database that would love to give reviews that they've never taken advantage of, let's separate those out, because it looks a little wonky when it goes from 0 reviews to 75 reviews after they've been in business, and it just like blows up. I would say 2 per week is kind of what we target in our agency. So that means that as you guys build this stuff, you know, part of the reason that it takes time to rank the site, where it's like this 3 to 6 months, it's not just sitting on a shelf and improving on its own. The reason that it takes this time period is that you guys need to be doing the things every week that allow it to take 3 to 6 months. If you're not doing these things, then it's not going to rank. It's just like, or it's going to rank really slowly, or it's going to rank in a way that is like, you know, you're getting a few leads here and there, right? So you need to be like doing this stuff. I was talking to Jeff earlier. When you go through and let me share my screen again. Let's look at this. So we're talking best practices for GMB, right? So let's go in here and under maintenance. Yeah. No awesome update on that yet. I know that people ask me that every day. We're doing everything we can. Kind of the plan that I'm working towards is, I saw with one of our competitors that has in my opinion, inferior heat map tool, that they've required everyone to get their own instance of API. And there was like this huge backlash of people that are like upset. And I actually thought what they did was really smart to do it that way. But I understand like it's a complicated process to set up and you're like putting the ball in, the people who are paying's court to do that. So I think what we're going to do is try to do it for our users and get all that legwork done, and then still have the users kind of quarantined where everyone has their own Gmb API. And we just kind of like go and do the legwork and kind of plug it in and get it set up. So that way we can still protect the API from other users if somebody's doing something, nefarious and getting a lot of suspensions. Okay, so back to what we're talking about here. So let's look at whatever this is, Tile Busters Supreme Auto Care. All right, so some of the best practices. You guys need to be making sure that you load up your GMBs with pictures, okay? And what I would be doing is I would not be just loading photo stock onto the GMB. Like, get real pictures of whatever it is. Make the pictures kind of unique. And for most people, like if you're doing some kind of like, flying saucer repair, then it may be hard to get real pictures. But for most of us, these businesses exist all around us. Like if you're doing like tree care, there's trees all over the place, right? Or if you're doing driveway replacement, then there's driveways all over the place. So you can go and take a picture with your cell phone of these different things and set it up. Okay, so additionally with the pictures, let's kind of zoom in on this, and I'm going to find some neighborhoods, right? So let's pretend that I want to rank better in this area here. So some of the names that I'm going to use for picture, and I think this was like tile something. So let's say it's like tile installation. So I'm trying to rank better for like tile installation, and you can see kind of grayed out right here is American Fork. So some of the strategies that I would use when I'm naming the picture is that it's going to be tile installation American Fork, and then whatever, I don't even know what city this is. Anyone see that? What part of the country am I in right now with this thing? I have no clue. Provo, this is Utah somewhere. So this looks like, so it could be like tile replacement, American Fork, Provo, and kind of making so it's not tile installation, could tile replacement, tile repair, all this different stuff, like tile contractors. All these different things could be the names of these pictures that we're loading into our GMB. Additionally, some of the best practices that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build pages on your site that talk about these different areas that you want to rank better in, right? So American Fork could be a neighborhood page on the actual website. I would be making posts, right? You should be making posts. How much is too much? I don't think posting every day is too much. I don't think that's going to have a negative effect. I think there's kind of a law of diminishing returns. But I would say getting 2 or 3 on there per week. I know they last about 7 days, right? So I would be having 1 on there every 7 days. And I would be targeting the things that you really come up with a strategy of how you're going to go after this. These are the keywords. These are the areas I want to target. And this stuff can all align with each other, right? So I'm putting this stuff on about American Fork and tile replacement. Maybe we're running a special on tile replacement in the American Fork area, right? So and then there's an American Fork page on my website, right? So get hyper specific, and that's where this heat map tool really comes into play, is you can choose and build a strategy based on this information that you get back from these results, right? And you'll see this stuff move, right? You want the citations. That's another thing. You guys aren't doing citations, like you're leaving money on the table. So there's a lot of different sites out there that will give you, citations. And, there's different people that provide that as a service. What we did is we were using a site for a while. And then I think, those like random Facebook requests you get where like you don't really know the person and that like they're going to try to pitch you something. Well, like one of those people reached out and we're like, okay, let's try this guy and let's see how his citations are. If they look like, if he's doing a good job, what's the turnaround time? And then when we negotiated, right? And I think we got it down to like 30 cents a citation or something like that, where we negotiated down with him and we're like, hey, we'll order in bulk from you and you'll be our go-to guy, but we want it for this price. So that's been working out really well, but you've got to have those citations in there. You should be building out all the like big profile stuff. You should have your Facebook. For every GMB you set up, we need a Facebook page. We need a Yelp page, the yellow pages. So there's like, if you look up, like, let's just do a search for SEO. What are the big citations? So they'll give you a list. Here's Moz. This is another thing that I would recommend that you guys pay attention to. How to like, Moz is a great site for like SEO stuff. If you've been through, like a lot of us have been through the same training course, and like there are so many other things out there. You guys need to be kind of like spreading your wings and looking for more information. Moz is a great resource that has tons of stuff on there. There's stuff, I don't know if this is going to be the right part of the site that is going to show me the list of what they call big citations, but you guys need to make sure that all of those are getting in there for your different sites. Okay. So we've got reviews, 2 per week. I wouldn't expect my website to rank without 10 reviews.
Well, still froze. There he is. You froze for a second.
Were you guys catching the audio?
No, you left off at you wouldn't expect GMB to rank without at least 10 reviews. It's the last thing I heard.
That's right.
Oops. All right, he's out. He'll probably be back. How are you guys feeling about this Gmb best practices? I mean, I haven't done a ton of the nitty gritty on Gmbs, but I use the same citations guy as the agency, and all this stuff. I think depending on the competition, obviously the more reviews the better. But I've seen things rank with less than 10 reviews. But I think if you're gonna, like Patrick was saying, get some real credibility and traction in any kind of local market, you want to have as many reviews as you can get, the more the better. So that's good. I build out all the social pages, Facebook, Yelp, Twitter.
Right.
Yeah, I do all that.
YouTube is another one that you're going to want. You could make a video. I don't know who this was, but it was like Greg Bukovac, I think maybe would make a video and put like the name, address, and phone number as the video title. And like, that's going to get indexed by Google.
Right.
And it's going to be pointed back to your site. Right. So there's something called big citations, and there's a list of these. And I don't know, maybe Jeff or somebody can pull that up but there's ones that you're going to want to make sure you get every time. Like in Yelp is one of them. I think, let me see here. So what I was saying is like, I wouldn't like, we've seen GMBs rank with no reviews, but if it's going to be like, for the most part, we're going to see a lot. Like there's a correlation to having more reviews with the better rankings. And I think having at least 10 is like a good baseline. And we've had GMBs rank with no reviews that we don't get any, we're barely getting any calls. And then when we add the reviews, the calls start to come in. So it's more than just a ranking factor. It's a trust factor where you're going to, where you're going to get more trust with those reviews. So don't like be negligent with those. So let's see here. Big citation, SEO. Here's this, what is this? Bright Local. Bright Local's a pretty good source for this. Here we go. Here's Bing Maps, Facebook. Bing is another one that you want to make sure you get listed in. Read through this stuff. You know, you guys don't be sheltered from this and just think that like the process should like this idea of just like trusting the process is good when you're kind of like trying to get the foundation in place, but at some point, you know, you need to graduate from that and kind of like think about what's going on in the real world and don't be like hamstrung by that, right? So things are constantly changing. How much have your GMBs changed or this process with GMBs changed in the last year, right? So like the process is changing and you got to adapt and kind of pay attention to it, right? So responding to the reviews is another thing that you should be doing. And when you do so, like getting keywords in the reviews is important, right? So if you can get like say I'm trying to rank for tree service. So maybe the review looks like this. We hired this tree service company. So I've got tree service company now in there to come out and they removed a tree and then they grinded down a stump for us. They did a great job. So look at what I'm doing. I'm putting that stuff in there, right? Thing that I would highly recommend and getting your keywords into the questions in the cities, into the questions. Like, do you guys do stump removal in Dallas, Texas? Yes, we've done a lot of stump removal in all of these different parts. Like you could, like we've done it in Fort Worth and all over Dallas, Texas. We'd love to help you. Just give us a call, right? So these are some of the best practices that you should be getting in there. I would say I probably would go with like at least a 5 or 10 to 1 ratio of reviews to questions with more reviews than questions, okay? Your website and the content and the strength of your website is going to dramatically influence your ability to rank the GMB. So obviously we want our GMBs to rank really well, but you don't like just put everything on the GMB because you need that other piece to get in there, right? Some of the things you want to think about too is click-through rate. When you go to pick your GMB name, a lot of you guys are picking like the perfect like keyword exact match. I would probably stay away from that a little bit and have a little bit of mixture. For those of you guys that can't get them to go live, they're getting suspended more often. I wouldn't mess with that. Like having like, instead of saying like tree service Boston, it could be like elite tree service of Boston. Make it sound like a name, right? So be creative with it. It could be ABC tree service, right? So it doesn't have to be like exact match with that. I think that's going to set off some red flags. And also people without the branding in there, people might not want to click on it as much. And your click-through rate is part of what is going to determine how your GMB ranks. That's a ranking factor, right? The time that people spend on your website is going to be a ranking factor for not only how your indirectly how your GMB ranks, but how your website ranks. So build your websites in a way that has like some engaging information in there, right? Okay. Let's see what else we got. Talked about that.
Joseph Bram shared Yext products listings, which I put into the chat here on what are we on, Skype, Zoom, I mean. So,
yeah, so Yext is a great service for looking at what they provide you. I would highly recommend that you don't sign up for and pay for their service. Just look at the what's included and then go and find a process to get those in place. But I paid for Yext. I got locked into a contract. It was a complete mess. You go, they build these citations, they guarantee the citations to stick. Once you stop paying them, they actually remove them. So and theirs will replace any duplicates. So let's say I have like a citation on site A, and then I sign up for Yext. So theirs replaces mine. And then when I stop paying, they remove it. And now I don't have a citation at all when I had one before. So, but that doesn't mean that their list of sites that they're getting the citations from is not a good list. It is a good list. It's a lot of really powerful sites, right? Getting the citations from local places too can be really useful. Like you want the power citations and you want the local citations. So in every city, there is like a number of resources, those and this type of things. So just like we do the blog or we used to do the blog commenting for our backlinks, like you could kind of create local backlinks. I recommend that, and create local citations for like the area that you're in. Get the local stuff, right? That's a good thing to do. Okay, so any other questions? Any questions on? I know I've been kind of speeding through this. I'm trying to keep these things to around an hour. Any questions on all this stuff I just kind of spit out with the best practices for the GMB? You see anything, Mr. Jeff?
Nope, not seeing anything. You see,
Right.
niche specific directories are great.
Yep, absolutely.
Lisa's asking Patric QQ, do you have someone local to the area create the GMB on your behalf, or do it yourself, or just Craigslist for the co? I don't know what she meant by that, but
Yeah, so I understand the question here, and I think Chad Campbell has this group where he teaches this kind of different business model that's all about GMBs, and that guy is doing like 10,000 GMBs a month or something ridiculous. Like in that situation, it's advantageous to kind of have this IP address that is clean and setting it up. For us, we run a big agency. I think we set up 50 GMBs last month. Like I don't worry about it at all, and it's not an issue. So we need to take the necessary precautions as they're necessary. And I think that unless you fall into that thousands of GMBs being set up a month, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just use your IP address. Let's keep it simple. Let's scale this as fast as we can. And if you start running into issues, then like pivot. One of the things that we've noticed in our agency is that the approvals and the way it happens really goes in waves. Okay. So it's easy to think that you're doing something wrong, but it could just be Google's decided to change things for a little while where nothing's getting approved. They've got an update they're working on. They've kind of like put everything on pause. And then all of a sudden everything's getting improved, right? So it kind of goes like this. Use this group as a way to kind of test the waters, right? One of the things that we're doing that, Jeff and I are a part of this mastermind. I'm starting to measure everything. Like I'm going to start, I want to know what our suspension percentage is. I want to know what the cost of a GMB is, because we send these things out. I'm paying $50 for each one. And when we send them out, a lot of times it's getting suspended, and I'm not giving up on the suspensions. So we got a whole process that we go through when something gets suspended, where we're reaching out to them. And we're just like, we're going to annoy the heck out of Google until we can't do anything else with everything that gets suspended. I'm not giving up on it until they're like, please stop contacting us, right? We're just going to reach out to them every single week, maybe multiple times a week. And we're like, hey, this is our attitude. You kind of want to play the dummy here. I don't understand why I'm not allowed to be on Google. I've tried to follow all your rules. I don't understand your rules. This is costing me a lot of money. With COVID, it's been hard on our business. What can I do so that my business can be on Google? This, like, we're a legitimate company. What do we need to do? Right. I've heard of people working with graphic designers to provide necessary proof through electric bills and, stuff like this. Right. So that can certainly be something that you can put together if Google asks for it. State licenses. I've heard that they're available on the internet where you can take those pictures and like adjust it to be what you need to be. So that may be something I'm not advocating that, but I've heard that people have had success with that. So that may be something that you want to explore. Google is not like the morality police here. Our goal is to help out the good people that are running these companies and get them the business that, if we've chosen our clients correctly, maybe the business that they deserve to get, right? Instead of like there's other people that are scamming them or something like this. So, I'm going to do what I need to do to try to deliver them the highest quality product. And when it goes into suspension or pending, I kind of look at Google almost as like a stepping stone that I just need to figure out how to go around, work with, or, until I can get the result that we need. Right. So I know that Neil, you've had your hand up for a minute. What's going on? You're muted. I'm asking you to unmute. You should have a little pop-up. Devin, I'm going to come to you next, man. I see you're up too.
Quick question on Facebook. Does getting people to like your page on Facebook really help?
I think that there's a social cues component to the ranking. I think that it is not going to help you a ton, but we got to take every edge we can get on this. And if you're trying to build like skyscrapers in these cities with your Gmbs, like it would make sense that there's some like organic stuff on there, right? You could take some of the stuff that you've written, make some posts on there. You could probably run an ad for a few days and get a bunch of likes. You could have local people getting the likes. You could probably incentivize your clients to like, hey, if you like our Facebook page and you send us a review, then like we'll do X. We'll buy you a cup of coffee. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I do also auto posting on Facebook and Twitter. Instagram's a little bit more complicated, but I have this thing called Meet Edgar. There's a bunch of them out there, but I just put stuff in, 3, 4, 5 times a week. It's pounding those accounts with different posts so that they're active. Nobody sees it, but you can put links in there. And, Twitter comes up right on Google, the Twitter feed comes up right on right on Google, and they're not going to catch my local contracting stuff, but they are paying attention to that. Right. So I'll do a schedule with auto posts with every page link in my site, just like throw it up there with different text off my website and just put it in a schedule, and it just rolls, just constantly feeds it in there. So I know that that's at least getting, like Patrick said, you're looking for every edge, right? I mean, the service costs $50 a month. Might take me an hour to set up 20 posts that just roll for infinity. It's worth it to me. I think that it does give you a little edge,
What I'm just talking about getting like friends and everybody I know to like my page on Facebook. You know how you always get in the groups, hey, so-and-so asked you to like their page on Facebook. Does that help? That's what I was asking.
Yeah, no, I know. I think like Patrick said, I think that every little edge helps. If there's more people who like it.
Time. It's time worth spent than doing that.
It's really hard to know like exactly what the return on investment is from stuff like this, but I know that part of Google's algorithm, I think they publicly said it, includes social signals. And that is like Facebook is the biggest social network. So they're telling us that it matters. To what degree, I don't know, but I'm going to take every edge that I can get on this stuff. And, if it doesn't help, then whatever, no big deal.
And it's not a lot of time. I'm just wondering,
That's right.
Yeah. Doesn't take a lot.
And Neil, you're a smart guy. Figure out a way to systematize this, right? Come up with ways where you can make this happen for each one of your sites, and you're not the one that is going to like request this, right? Okay, cool. All right, Mr. Devon, what's up, brother?
When you're going through, you just mentioned you guys did 50 GMBs last month. Are you still going through with regular Gmails? Are you approaching that with like Outlook emails, domain emails? How, if you could share how you
Yeah, we have one account that one Gmail account that we set up the requests like through Craigslist and all this. So I have a VA that goes through and responds to these people, and her job is just to follow up, keep following up. When we set up the actual GMB part of it, we use a separate Gmail for every single account that we set up. I saw that like Harry asked kind of like a add-on to this question is like Gmails and proxies and VPNs. Like, first of all, I definitely wouldn't be using VPNs. VPNs are easily detectable. And with Google, this is trust. This is what like the strength of a backlink is like trust. Like that's what they're looking for, is like trust, right? If you start using a VPN, Google can tell you're using a VPN, and now you've like violated the trust, where it's kind of like you've got it's imagine this guy's coming in to like do business with you, and he's got a mask on, right? You like, what's your impression of that? That's kind of what I think of with the VPN. Proxies, I think, are much harder to detect. I think when it's set up right, I don't think anyone can know that you're using a proxy. But like I said, we set up like all these GMBs last month, and we don't use those. So I don't think they're necessary. You guys are setting up a lot more than that per month. At some point, maybe it would matter. Another thing that you guys could really try is like AWS, Amazon Web Services, will give you a free machine that you can use. You can log into it, and it's just kind of like you're logging into a computer. That I think is undetectable, because you're logging into a computer and then you're using that computer to reach out to the rest of the world, right? And it's hosted on AWS, which is like going to be really reputable, right? And you're going to have the same IP address all the time. And I think after a little while, maybe you can say, hey, I don't want this one, and let me get a new one. You get a new IP address. That could be something you play with. For my people that are outside the United States and they're working on our stuff, like I just mentioned that I have people that are optimizing our Gmbs. So some of these people are in the Philippines. I don't want a Filipino IP address in there with like typing in the verification code. So for that, we use the AWS machine, right? But we don't go through all of these huge links to try to set up proxies and all this different stuff, because I think it's unnecessary. And our goal should be to simplify things. Things that are simple are scalable. When you start introducing these like unnecessary things, and that's kind of what I think about this. If you're doing less than, let's say, 300 GMBs a month, I don't think this stuff is necessary to like mix all this IP stuff. Like, Google understands that marketing agencies exist. And if you have more than one person in the United States, like I do, then I have them split between a few different people, right? So they're not all under the same IP address, and some of them are on that Amazon Web Services machine. So like the basic level, it's called a virtual machine. That's what it's called. So if you go on to AWS and search for virtual machine, I don't pay anything for it, and we've been using it for probably a year. So it's relatively easy to set up. I'm sure you can find a tutorial online, and then you can kind of use that to diversify your IP if that were necessary.
So
Harry's
Harry's
does that cover that, Devon?
Private server? Oh, sorry.
Or I'm sorry, Harry.
Harry asked, is that so AWS is kind of like
Yes.
a private server? Yeah.
That's right. It's a virtual machine is what they call it, or a VM. So I know that was like started out as Devon's question and Harry's question. Did I hit both of them? Are you guys both cool?
Yeah, for me, it was
cool
just,
as
I
it can
just
be.
wasn't sure if like just creating a Gmail, I didn't know if you were like warming it up at all then, or just still like logging into it after creating the GMB or what.
Yeah, we try to log into it once a month. One of the things that I think we started doing that I think is really good is like, especially if you have a GMB that you know that you can maybe take a little bit of time, or like take a little bit of time once you get an address, is we will create the big citations first before we even request the postcard. And we'll do that like maybe 10 days or 2 weeks. We'll kind of let the internet, Google absorb these big citations. Then we'll request the postcard. So our theory being, it adds a level of legitimacy if like that's already out there. And now we're just like, oh, okay. Like, can it look suspicious to Google if you're like, there's no record of this like business existing, and we're requesting the GMB right away? Like, certainly that's going to happen some of the time, but more times than not, a business is around for a while and then the GMB gets set up. So that's kind of what we're trying to like mimic when we go and we create some of those citations. We just do the big ones. We do like, 5 or 10 of those, let them sit there, the Yelp, Facebook, YouTube, these types of ones, yellow pages, super pages, I don't know, Bing, like Apple Maps, right? And then after that, we send out the postcard. So that's kind of like a strategy that we've been working with. We're, like I said, we're going to start tracking all these numbers, and we're going to have percentages, and I'm going to have percentages by niche of what is getting suspended in like categories. I recommend that you guys track stuff, get data. Don't make decisions just based on your gut for the rest of your life. Like, data exists. It's a little bit of extra work, but it will probably save you a lot of work to kind of put some of those things in place and kind of understand like what, like, this is performing better when this happens, right? Just be thinking about that as you build stuff. Cool. All right. Right on. All right. Jeff, do we have any more questions? I know we're at like an hour.
We have 2 more teed up. Why don't we take these 2, Tia and Eugene, and then call it an evening? Tia, what do you got?
What's up, Tia? How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Yeah.
So I just had GMB suspended, and I am one of those people who I have a separate Gmail for each of my GMBs, but they're all through my own personal account. So if I can't get that reinstated, it says that if they remove the profile, it will remove all of the locations. Does that just mean the locations for that profile, or are all of my GMBs in jeopardy right now?
I would think to some level, all your GMBs may be in jeopardy, and that's why we strongly advocate to always separate those out. I would say that's probably like a 15% chance, and I'm just guessing, right? I would say really high chance that they won't all get suspended, or maybe it'll just be limited to that one. I think there is a process, and I would start slow with this, but I think there's a process where you can create a new Gmail, transfer the ownership to that Gmail. And I don't know like how long this like vapor of the previous GMB being a part of the first account lasts for. But I would be separating those things out, and like, so you're going to like transfer the ownership, and then like, and the new one, you'll remove the old one. And I would do that if it were me.
Yeah.
I don't want any of my GMBs in the same accounts. I've heard of people having like hundreds of GMBs in the same account, and Google is just like, whoosh, swipes them all. They're all gone, right? There's a person in that was in JK that lost like 400 in one account. And like, I've heard from day one, put them in separate accounts. Always put them in separate accounts. Let's remove this stuff that is not like, there's just, I don't see any benefit from a management standpoint. Maybe it's easier to log into one, but I just think it's like, when you guys set these things up correctly, if you choose the right niches, these GMBs should be worth thousands of dollars a month to you. And to put all those in one spot, it's too much, right? So
Yeah.
I don't mean to lecture you, but
No,
it's important. Yeah. It's important to like
I made a mistake.
Understand this.
So I just wondered, I didn't know if like now I can transfer the ownership to all of the Gmails that have been created. But I was just like, is that going to be suspicious now that my thing has been suspended
slowly.
and create more? I
Yeah.
only have 10.
Okay.
So
I would maybe do maybe one every 10 days and just see what happens here. And don't hold me responsible for this. Okay. Like that's what I would do. That's what I would do if I were in your shoes. Okay. But I don't know how, I don't know how Google's going to interpret that, because I haven't, I've never set it up that way, but I know that like when I've seen it and clients have come to us in the past where they have a bunch in here, first thing I would do, I'm like, I'm pulling these out and just getting them away from each other. Let's put these things in quarantine from each other. Right. And we haven't run into problems with that in the past, but I've never set them up that way on my own. And I know that at some point you guys are going to run into situations where you've created too many Gmail accounts and they won't let you do it. So you may have to get creative with like other people's phone numbers. There's places where you can purchase, they're called PVA, phone verified aged email accounts. And you can purchase like packs of like 100 Gmail accounts that have been aged for a while. So back to your question, Devon, we don't season our Gmail accounts because I've totally forgot that. We actually do that. We purchase ours. So they're coming like aged already. And with that, there's a higher level of trust.
thank you so much. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
I know I
You're
fucked up.
We all make those mistakes. It's good to see you.
Thanks, you too.
Yeah. All right.
Eugene,
So before we go to Eugene, I'm just going to like clarify Harry's question in there. Comes
Okay.
with an AWS account. So yeah, you sign up for the AWS, but don't pay anything, right? They've got all these different plans. You don't need to pay anything to get access to the AWS virtual machine. So that they'll give you like the worst computer ever. It's like, but it's enough to do what we need to do, right? So don't be like trying to watch Netflix on there, Harry, and that kind of stuff. That's not going to be good. But you can go in there and like log onto a browser and like do the minimum amount that you're needed to like, there's not a lot of computing power with browsing the internet, right? So it works fine for that. So yeah. And then you can have your VAs log into it as well. So cool. Mr. Eugene.
Sweet. Just to chime in on the suspension stuff, I actually tried out one of the Fiverr services, and they like do like the reinstatement service. I'm guessing that they have somebody on the inside, like a cousin or something, and it worked for me. So it was only 25 bucks.
Yeah, we did the same thing, and we had success with that as well. So I would encourage you guys to look into Fiverr and look. Every time you find somebody like this, just a little like business savviness that's worked really well for us is don't ever look at these people as like they're just a tool to get you, like this Fiverr person. Build a relationship with them and see if you can like understand what they're doing, right? And take care of them. Like if you get the opportunity to give them a tip, how much did you say you paid, Eugene? Did you say you paid $5 or you pay more than that?
No, it was like 25.
$25. So you could throw them an extra 25 and be like, hey man, I really appreciate it. You're awesome. Like take care of these people, build this relationship. Like Fiverr makes it a little bit hard to kind of do it, but you can kind of get creative and like we had a content writer. We had a content writer that it was on like the service we used to use is called Text Broker, and she did a really good job. And I just kind of like dropped her a message and we ended up like pulling her off of there. And then she wrote for us for like a year and a half. Another thing I wanted to mention is like any of you guys that are looking for content writers, if there's somebody out there that's looking for one, hit me up. I've got a pretty good resource for something. So, but with that, I think, Jeff, have we cleared all the queue of questions? We good?
as far as I can see, you questions are clear.
I got a quick one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
my bad.
No, you're good, brother.
Yeah, this is good. This might go out to Patrick and Jeff. It's kind of about my sales process. So my sales guy, like right now, when we put people on the trial, the monthly trial, like he's literally going and listening to every call and kind of like seeing which ones are real leads and which ones are spam calls. And at the end of the month, he's like showing them like, it's irrefutable proof that, we're bringing you value, right? But I'm just worried, like right now it's cool because we only got a handful of ones we're working, but I'm looking into the future, and that seems like it's going to take a lot of time. I don't know. Is this something that you guys do, or is it overkill?
You mean for trial clients or for actual clients?
For both. So yeah, we'll get some people, paying on a little bit basis, and we want to, kind of track everything and show them the value at the end of the month. But I'm just worried that it's going to end up taking too much time in the future, and just wondering if you guys do that at all, or
we do for our biggest client. Like obviously, he has a CFO and stuff. It's a real, multi 7-figure company. Like he has to have, proof of results, and we want to make sure that we're anchoring him to the right price and make sure that we're always way future pacing him on what he's paying us versus what the value that we're delivering. You know what I mean? So we have an admin who's been doing that. I did it for a couple of months, and then as we added more locations, it became, too cumbersome. But I don't really do a lot of reporting like you're talking about, but I definitely listen in and try to hear, as well as I can, how well is the trial client handling the calls? Like, what are these calls? Is that a big slam dunk call or not? Like, I try to keep my finger on the pulse, but I try to also balance it with not spending too much time or overdoing it. But I get excited, like I said, I think on last week's call, like I just like to win. So if I hear those calls and I hear the results that we're getting and the value we're delivering, that motivates me to be even better and to make that next call and be like, dude, I'm going to change your life. Like, you know what I mean? Like whatever, rather than just be like, so like, I want to be in the business. Like I consider myself like a growth strategist, business growth type strategist. I want to know what the hell is going on as much as I can. And I think any sales guy would benefit, or salesperson would benefit from having that kind of insight into what the calls are like. And again, it's just fire for me. So that's how I handle it.
Can I add this to what you just said?
Yeah.
Eugene, what my VA does is he goes in every day and listens to all the calls that come in. This is for one client, and he doesn't transcribe the call, but he sort of synopsizes what the call was about, what the prospect said, and so on and so forth. And he enters that into a field and lead generated. So a record of what was said on every single call is in there. And then you can
usually
put on that anything you want.
Yeah, and I'm pretty good at this. So like when I go listen, like literally I know I can tell by the voice pattern, like where they're saying important shit.
Right.
And I can see, all I want to know is like, what's the value of the job? So if they say commercial, then I'm going to listen on and see how many square feet or whatever, but if they're like,
and I'm teaching my VA to cut the bullshit out.
I can do it literally.
Yeah. Well, you know how to do it too. And I do, but anyway, you can do it that way, and it's really cheap. It's just like, half an hour out of my VA's day.
Yeah.
So that's another approach for you.
Yeah, I think it's really important for you guys you got to keep a pulse on your business, and you got to understand what's going on. You got to spot check some of this stuff. You want to know the value that your clients are getting or not getting, right? If they're turning down certain types of calls, that would be great to know, because that could be monetized differently. And if you just like sit it and forget it and don't have anybody watching this stuff, it's only so long before you're losing money that, it's not going to be optimized. And that doesn't mean that you have to be the person listening to a phone call and like identifying issues. Is like anyone who speaks English is going to be able to complete this, right? That's competent, right? So maybe not every single phone call. Like in our business, we have like more than 10,000 leads come in a month. So that would be a big process to try to audit every one of those. But if we go through and we kind of spot check, then it really helps us point out some issues. Like I think we had I think it was either Kansas City or Raleigh. We found out that the guy was just like turning down all the business, and we're like, what are we going to do with this site? Like we built multiple sites, and he was taking the business from one, but he's turning it down for one. And like, he didn't tell us that. And he may not realize, like when his phone rings 10 times a day, And like one of them is for this site, like he may not realize that like, oh, all the leads that come from this site are not what I want. And I need to communicate that to Patrick so that he can go and monetize it. No, he's over there thinking like scrambling, trying to keep up with everything. Right. But you guys, we have to constantly, my cat's about to make an appearance here. There he goes. All right. So move out of the sky. So we need to be constantly looking for these opportunities. You guys, I've been reading a lot since this mastermind on like our numbers and knowing our data. I'm reading this book. It's called The Blueprint for an Insanely Profitable Business. And there is so many things that I've learned in this that we're not doing in our agency. Like we come into this and we learn how to rank the sites. But when we start it, it's like, we're so much more than that, right? We're running a business. And if you don't have the kind of business foundation to understand your income statement and your balance sheet and this type of stuff and be able to calculate ratios, if you're hiring people, if I hire a person and I'm spending $1,000 a month on this person, do I know that that person is contributing more than $1,000 to my bottom line, right? And then what about like the revenue that comes in? How much of that is actually turning into cash for me, right? Like then there's profits. How much is actually gonna like, so we've got a revenue, our revenue comes in, it's like $10. And then I'm gonna spend some of that on expenses. So I've got profit left. How much of that profit is actually turning into cash? So there's all these different efficiencies that we should be paying attention to, right? And that's question you just asked, Eugene, kind of hits on this, is like, we need to be constantly like, if we can hold our income at the same level and lower our expenses, then we're moving in a good direction. If we're going to be raising our revenue, is the cash actually raising with it in a proportional way or in a way that is going to be more profitable for us? You guys need to be like thinking about these business decisions as you expand and as you like make these decisions. What is my return from this? This is why it's important to track this data, right? This is a whole nother topic. If you guys are interested in this, I would recommend checking out that book. And there's a bunch more. If you're not interested in this, then I hope the reason that you're not interested in this is because this is super basic and you're already doing it. But as business owners, if it's not super basic, then you need to master this stuff. And you need to get it to the point where this is super basic and then take it to the next level and then take it to the next level. Because this is almost as important as how many leads we're producing, right? And as you scale, like we scaled super fast, way faster than like my business management and accounting skills scaled. So now I'm playing catch up with this stuff. I know that I haven't run it in an efficient manner. And I don't know these ratios and numbers. And I know looking back, what a big mistake is, because you start getting to the people that are, doing, there was a guy in the room with us at our mastermind that's doing $1 million a month. He got there because he knows his numbers, right? Like he knows his numbers inside and out. And everyone that is at that level, you're not allowed to go there without knowing your numbers. That's basically how it's going to work, right? So you get to start like, I think it was Bryan Brown there. He's got 5 clients now. It's a lot easier to kind of get this stuff in place when you've got 5 clients than when you have, like us, we've got 60 or something, right? So now I've got all these different expenses. I've got all these employees. Like, I wish I would have started earlier. That's kind of the message that I'll leave you got, like one learning experience. And check out these kind of managerial numbers type books. So next week, let's wrap this thing up. We've been on here for an hour and a half, right? So next week, 2 things. First is I'm trying to get Mr. Shiv on here next week. So he hasn't made a hard commitment, but I'm working on trying to get him on here. He's got a killer due diligence process. So I'd like to get him on here as kind of a special guest and hear what his mindset is and what the process is for that. So we'll see if we can make that happen, but that's my goal for this week. The second thing, the way we end all our meetings, do what you guys need to do. Let's create some wins. You guys got 7 days until our next call, right? I know me and Jeff are going to be working our asses off to try to create wins. I would recommend, if your business is not where you guys want it to be, you've got 7 days you got as much time as you need, but 7 days from now, there's going to be a check-in, and it's like, this is your opportunity. How did you move your business forward? All the wins don't have to be like a closed client or this. It could be a mental shift. It could be a decision, but you've got these 7 days. Let's do something with this time. This is the same message every week, but it should come as like a new wake-up call, right? Let's get into gear, right? So like, maybe some of us have been kind of like falling off the horse, and we're kind of just not really, we're going through the motions a little bit. Let's not make a commitment for more than the next 7 days. Okay. But what if this next 7 days, you just made a decision that I'm going all out on this. I'm going to crush it this week. You can have a break after that. Let's just start with this, right? Make this week count, guys. Make it big. Move your business down the line. All right. All right. You guys have a great week. We'll see you in the group. I appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon. Adios, amigos.
Guys.